you know, the ones that don't end with you winning a championship, just, you know, it's going to be a disappointing ending. But it was a pretty incredible run by an incredible group of guys. The pain is part of the path, you know, and we've been really fortunate to continuously get better the last couple of years and put ourselves in better positions. But when it ends, it's painful. And but that is part of the path. And so we have to let it motivate us.
CC, the Celtics were 10-0 at TD Garden this postseason. They looked unstoppable with that home crowd behind them. So what went wrong for Boston in Game 7 against the Cavs?
Besides the inability to be able to shoot, a 4-point lead at halftime, disastrous third quarter, couldn't make especially anything behind the 3-point line, and LeBron James' overall experience. That's what this young team ran into. But the Celtics fans, they have to be encouraged of the overall development of these young players. Their top 3 players are first year in the NBA, a rookie, second year in the NBA, and Rozier, third year, and all of them performed better in the playoffs. Even though Rozier and Jaylen Brown didn't perform great in yesterday's game, you have to be excited because what I started to do was last night, I started to look at the lineup, what it's going to look like next year. And they're going to have, you know, in the backcourt, if they want to, they can have Kyrie and Jaylen Brown.
That's what they'll do.
At the forward, they're going to Tatum and Gordon Hayward.
Yep.
Al Horford at center. That team right there can win you a championship. So, yes, I know what I saw. No, they didn't finish up the way they'd like to. But that 10-0 record coming into that final with this young team, I believe that will pay dividends because if you're going to win a title in the East, I believe you're going to have to go through Boston now.
Well, listen, no one can doubt how bright the future is. And we're going to have a ton of time, so the draft, this offseason, see what they do in free agency, because they have some interesting decisions on some pending free agents to make, to talk about what their future is. I want to talk about last night just for a moment, because as bright as their future is, this is also a team that not only was up 2-0 in the series, not only was up 3-2 in the series, but was up 12 points. In the second quarter, and this was the part of the game Ty Lue talked about, LeBron talked about, Brad Stevens talked about. They're up 35-23 with 6 minutes left in the second quarter. The Cavs' next 5 possessions, 2 LeBron turnovers, 2 LeBron misses, 1 Jeff Green miss. You had the opportunity to make that 17, 18, 19 points, and I believe that would have ended the game. I do not believe the Cavs could have come back from that. They look to be in such a funk mentally. Unfortunately for Boston, in that stretch from the 6-minute mark to the 2.5-minute mark, they only made 1 shot. It's what allowed Cleveland, even though they were playing terribly, to inch their way back into the game. And the Cavs, I don't know how you feel, C, the Cavs had to feel great about only being down 4 at halftime. They had played as poorly as they could play, and they were right there.
And that was the best position they'd ever been in Boston Garden series. It's the best position that they were going to be in they weren't blown out in that first initial wave. They didn't play great basketball, and they're still in the game. So from a mental standpoint and on the clock, on the scoreboard, they were still in great shape without playing good basketball.
I wonder if there's a small part of that where they stopped and they said, okay, this is Game 7. We're up by 12 points. We got this. This feels good. And you just take the tiniest bit of pressure off the accelerator just for a second. I don't want to say the stage got too big or there was too much pressure.
No,
I'm not going to say any of those.
I will say that. I think that's exactly what happened.
I think that's when it happened. I think it happened when they realized, hey, listen, we're close to winning this game.
Here's the thing.
And you sit on the lead and you don't.
No, they were still aggressive. They just couldn't hit shots. Like Rozier, Brown, and Smart were combined 8 of 42. Like, you can't. Terry Rozier was the Cavs' second-best player yesterday.
But you think that was the pressure?
He was 2 of 14. Certainly in the second half. I think that once the game got close, you called me, once the Cavs got the lead. Once the Cavs got the lead, it felt like...
And I told you the Cavs are going to win.
Absolutely right.
They couldn't come from behind. Once they got the lead in the third quarter, that was going to play to what the Cavs do. Milk it out. Try to play some good defense. It's hard to look ahead when you're in such a impactful moment. So it's about making shots and it's about getting stops. They weren't able to do either. When you come out in the third quarter and you get 13 points, you're not thinking about winning. You're trying to think of how can you get your next bucket. And the reason why I know they weren't looking ahead, because if you look at what is Boston's problem from when they had the injured players and Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, what do they struggle with? They struggle with shot making. All right? When they struggled during the regular season, they go through periods where they couldn't score the basketball. Now they go through the same thing in game number 7. I can't forget this team, who they really are. Like, those 10 games didn't make me forget who they are. When they were on the road, that's the type of team they were. It just, that road team showed up at Boston Garden yesterday.
And this will be forgotten to the history. But that's what makes their inability to take advantage of the Cavs' turnovers so devastating. The Cavs turned the ball over a dozen times. The Celtics had 3 fast break points. When you're getting that number of turnovers and you can't hit shots, you got to get easy buckets in transition. The Cavs, shockingly, all of a sudden played some decent transition defense. They got back. The Celtics made some mistakes. And when people say it's a make-or-miss league, I mean, Rozier, Brown, Smart go 3 for 26 from 3. And Rozier goes 0 for 10. That's just brutal.
And a lot of them shots are open.
Wide open. A lot of them wide open. So, I mean, if I'm a Celtic fan this morning, those are the things I can't get over.
Also, LeBron James is very good.
Yes.
Okay?
Absolutely.
At the end of it, LeBron James is very good. So coming up, Kobe will chime in on LeBron's legacy.